Hello friends, we are in one of my all-time favorite trucks. We've built some fairly crazy stuff here at Icon, but this one just takes the cake. There's something about it that holds a sweet spot for me. So what it is a old Dodge D200, the two-wheel drive sister to the Power Wagon, same body, same everything, that we did as an Icon reformer for a client. And we kind of cheated on this one, and I'll explain in more depth as we go on our little drive. I used the word cheat because on occasion, when we do these resto mods, we can find a modern vehicle that has all of the engineering and performance and reliability dynamics that we seek, that just so happens to match up well to the track width, wheelbase, and general fitment proportions of the vintage body. So this is one of those rare cases, and what's cool about it is we're able to do a Dodge on a Dodge. So we took a modern, I believe it was a 2006 Dodge 2500 Mega Cab turbo diesel truck, and we took all the mechanical brilliance that is that truck, complete with the full CAN bus electrical system, the factory computer, gauges, most of the switches, etc., and engineered that with the 60s Dodge crew cab body upon it. Just crazy job, but really rewarding to do. If you follow my channel, you may note we've done a couple of these. This was the first one that we did. It's been completed and delivered to the client, a ranch in Wyoming, but unfortunately that client's going through some personal family drama and is selling all the cars, all the houses, all the toys, everything. So he sent it back to me, which means you have the opportunity to buy the truck for less than it costs to build. Let's see, where do I even start? So, running a modern Cummins, a 5.9. The engine was massaged by our good friend and co-collaborator Gail Banks at Banks Performance. If you don't know Banks, you should if you're into diesels. He's a rock star. He's a god of modifying diesels. Not just modifying them, but he's done some of the factory outfitting for the OEMs and extensive work through the military. So this happened to be Gail's favorite generation of the Cummins because it has a lot of evolutionary refinement, but it's not the newest generation, which is arguably kind of locked down and too computer intensive. This one kind of fits that sweet spot of getting the refinement, but also being manipulable enough for Gail to do his thing. So we're running Gail's full stainless steel exhaust system, and that's a dual exit system. We're running Gail's 6-pack. We're running an air to water intercooler in a custom housing and box. And we're also running Gail's methanol injection system along with the Banks IQ. The Banks IQ is a really cool dash interface. That's a touch screen that keeps you apprised of all engine parameters and allows you to tweak settings and turn things on and off for towing duty or different services. At the end of the day, basically, this truck moves like a freight train. It's just under 1,000 foot-pounds of torque, and man, do you feel it. I mean, it just moves. You keep your foot out of it, it's nice and mild, but if you give it to it, it'll chirp the tires and away it goes. Cool thing is it's not like a lot of the diesel modifiers out there where it just belches black smoke and is just stupid. Gale's more conservative and kind of like me, and we're looking for really good performance, but never at the compromise of usability or reliability, and this truck just nails that. So in keeping with the freight train theme, we put in air horns, and they're pretty ridiculously obnoxious, but they're good fun. If you just tap them ever so lightly, you're not likely to offend, but it's seriously train horns. Other mechanical improvements include core racing suspension system using Fox shocks components. So that is enhanced coils, sway bars, sway bar blocks, shocks, remote canisters, really nicely engineered system. That gave us the ground clearance we wanted and tire proportions, and the wheel wells are running 35-inch BF Goodrich all-terrains on Hutchinson run flat beadlock wheels. So speaking of the wheel wells, you know, when we do something like this, we basically start with the original 60s Dodge and we liberate the body from the chassis. Then we take the modern Dodge and we liberate the chassis from the body. Then we dangle the vintage body on the modern chassis and start playing with fitment. Firewall clearance, drive shaft, everything works out beautifully. So the one issue that we have sometimes, in the case of these D200s, is the center line of the front axle versus where the engine is. You don't want to screw with that engineering factor because it'll have all sorts of ramifications on steering dynamics and ride quality. So what we do is when the body is media blasted to raw metal, we cut out the fender line and the wheel arch, we reposition it to center the axle back up again, and then that's all TIG welded and handcrafted back in. All of these old Dodges require extensive body work, really for two reasons. One being the factory fit and finish, no one really gave a shit, so it wasn't that precise, but our clients do have higher expectations. And the other reason is they rust, they just do. So this one was in really good shape, but still required hundreds of hours of refinement and rust repair. And that's all done to absolute highest quality possible, all in steel, all TIG welded and leaded and brazed, etc., but really no copious amounts of filler or any of that nonsense. After that's done, the body gets media blasted again, then primed, cured, sealed, blocked, filler, block, prime, sealer, and then paint. Then, after the paint, before we put the body on the chassis, the underside is coated in a heat-cured polyurea to control corrosion in the future. Also, it works well as a nice sound and temperature barrier. The inside of the body structure is also coated in polyurea before using copious amounts of Dynamat and aerospace insulatory property products underneath Rolls-Royce Wilton wool carpet with matched removable floor mats that are rubber backed. The fixed carpet and the floor mats are edged hemmed in bison hide. The bison hide is American bison. We do that in partnership with our friends at Parabellum Collection, a really cool brand that makes these really neat belts and bags and stuff. And it's upholstered onto the stock seat frames, but then with modern, basically Tempur-Pedic foam. And then we use the Parabellum ballistic ceramic buttons for a little bit of detail. On the backs of the front seats, you'll notice two attachés. Those bags can be used for storage within the vehicle and then have little 10X snaps that allow you to remove them and continue to use them beyond the vehicle. The glass on the truck is sourced from the architectural world. It's the kind of glass that you see used on skyscrapers. So that allows us to get into these cool finishes, in this case, this slightly mirrored reflective like my Dylan sunglasses. That is wet CNC'd, and then after being CNC'd, it's tempered so it becomes automotive safety rated glass. The visors are the fabulous Icon Learjet visors. The weather stripping throughout is all brand new, all the way through to window whiskers, polyurea body mounts, etc. For instruments, we're running the stock modern Dodge instrument cluster into a reshaped steel dash to make it look like it's supposed to be there. Once I was at that point with the job, it looked too plasticky. So we went back and we CNC'd this stainless steel insert that fits over it and hides all the plastic except for in the areas where you have functioning idiot lights for four-wheel drive, exhaust gas temperature, parking brake, check engine, high beam, blah, blah, blah. Because we blocked off a lot of the factory lighting, we supplemented that with LED diode strips that go around the circumference of each of the cutouts. Further interior lighting includes these LEDs that are at the A, B, and C pillars that complement the stock dome light in the back. The headliner is also done in the bison hide, and the Icon Lizard is on the dash, as always. He's somewhere. He just moves around depending on the truck. In this case, seemed like a good home for him. You'll notice we repurposed the ashtray, and that's on a hidden button under the dash here on linear actuators for the touchscreen when you need it. Otherwise, lights, wipers, fan, temp, vent, and four-wheel drive control are the only switches remaining on the dash. Those are all CNC'd in stainless steel and then brush finished in enamel. And then just under the dash, you'll see the banks, what do they call that thingamajigger? The straight shot, which is for addressing the methanol injection system as far as rate of spray. If that doesn't interest you, don't worry about it, don't use it. Otherwise, there's a large hand-fabricated TIG-welded tank hiding behind the front seat, and it's huge, but you refill that to keep the exhaust temp down, performance up, and longevity the most it can be. The audio system on the truck is pretty kick-ass as well. We're running Focal audio speakers all the way around. I believe there's a total of 6 or 8 plus the bass. There's 2 amplifiers, and then you control the stereo system volume and bass volume through the original AM stereo in the dash, and then you have a dock for your smartphone in the glove box. Icon CNC sport pedals, one-off custom design rear view mirrors, again machined out of solid chunks of stainless steel. Even the arms, that's not mandrel bent. We wanted absolutely perfect radius bends, so that's CNC'd out of one huge chunk of stainless. Just a ridiculous amount of effort, but it's all in the details, right? And I think it was worth it. It came out really nice. What else? We have custom horn button, hand-stitched bison wrap on the stock restored steering wheel. That steering wheel is attached to a modern I Did It column that gives you the tilt functionality and easy to source replacement parts for hazard and turn signals, stuff like that. Seating for 6, seatbelts for 6, polyurea lined bed, really good 5,000 pound rated flush anchors from Max Tie Down, total of 4 in the bed. Custom tailgate latches. I got rid of the gacky chain that just sits there, chips away at the paint, drives me nuts with noise. Amp Research lit power steps, full width on the left and the right. Dome light also is now tied to the door sensors. AC, of course, using a Vintage Air Gen 4 unit. It's completely flush and hidden. I didn't want visible AC vents. I wanted to keep the dash really streamlined and vintage looking. So you'll notice just under dash, we extended the dash and painted that extension in the body color. So it works great, but keeps it under the radar. Body color, my favorite white. You can bust me if you follow my channel. I've used it on several projects. It's actually a Maserati white from the 1960s. I think originally used, was it on a Ghibli? I don't know. But kick-ass color works really well. So that's my whole story. Unbelievable truck. Irreplaceable, absolutely world class. It's been in tons of magazines international. It's had at least one cover that I can remember, Diesel Power magazine here in the United States. Its track record's been impeccable. It's comfortable, it's refined, great performance. And the really cool thing too is, a lot of times I worry when we build these specialty cars, because there's so many different components, when the clients don't live near us, service can be a challenge sometimes. What's cool about this one is you can roll into the Dodge dealer and go, yeah, forget about what it looks like. Here's the reference VIN number. Service it as if it was a 2006 Mega Cab, and that makes a big difference. Of course, there's some modifications, such mentioned in the clutch, suspension, and Gale Banks mods, but that's all stuff that modern service departments are going to be comfortable with. Any more questions, please call us, 818-280-3333. Website, icon4x4.com. Icon Customs on Twitter. Icon4x4 on Instagram. Good old Jonathan Ward on Facebook. And thank you as always for taking the time to watch my videos. Have a good one.